Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have a chance to go and showcase up some Spider-Man 2 gameplay and as well kind of give you guys the review, thoughts, first impressions on everything when it comes to Spider-Man 2. Now, as you guys probably have a chance to go and see and realize, Spider-Man 2 is to hopefully be a massive and huge console seller for the PlayStation 5. Now, when it comes to the game itself, there's a lot of people who enjoyed the very first PlayStation version of both for Spider-Man and also Miles Morales, to the point where both those characters were pretty, I would say, well introduced to the fact where they had either the smaller storyline of Miles Morales and as well also with Spider-Man the original game. Now, obviously with the number 2, we're kind of expecting a little bit more of the same, and well, it kind of seems like Spider-Man so far has done that. So we're going to give you guys kind of the overall impressions on everyone who has had for Spider-Man 2 so far, the overall reviews, ratings, concerns, comments, and everything else in between. And as well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We also have the brand new Best Buy promotion going on right now with all the hot links for the Terra guns. We have 3 different links in the comment section and description, so check those out if you guys would like to, and of course the Twitter, Twitch, or subscribe if you guys are new. Or the big question is, are you guys going to go pick up the game when it comes on out? Now, this gameplay is being also in honor of PlayStation Lifestyle. We'll have that linked down below in case you guys want to check it out yourselves with audio and all that. But some of the big things to kind of know is that this was one of the bigger games for the PlayStation system. The PlayStation, this was probably the number 1 best-selling game, if you also include Miles Morales, for the PlayStation 4 genre. I think a lot of folks are excited for the game, myself included, and it does allow and have a somewhat of a different twist when it comes to the game. Overall, all the initial reviews have been really good. I think right now there's been 120 overall general reviews, so think about like the Metacritic type style stuff, and as of right now, the game is at around a 100 out of 120 reviews, a 91 review score. Now, this is kind of what a lot of folks are expecting, a pretty good solid 9 out of 10. And from everything we've had a chance to see in terms of gameplay, in terms of pretty much everything in terms of reviews, the game is a very solid game. Now, are you going to be expecting something groundbreaking? I'm going to probably say no. On every review so far, a lot of folks are kind of assuming that it's on the same boat of like that generic Marvel movie, which if you guys like a good Marvel movie, or if you guys enjoy a good superhero flick, you're going to enjoy this experience. Now, that's kind of the good part of Marvel. If you have a really good Marvel movie with a mainstay character, or like you can tell there's a good budget behind it, it's going to be a good time. It's not going to be the most groundbreaking experience where you're probably going to have your mouth open the entire time, where you're like, oh my god, this is the best video game or best movie I've ever seen, but it's one of those things where it does a lot of things right. It's one of those things where you're going to go and spend the $70 in the game itself, and you're going to have 0 issues. Maybe a few little small qualms here and there, but if you played through the first game and you enjoyed it, you're going to enjoy this game. That's pretty much what every reviewer who's had a chance to have their hands on so far has said. A 9 out of 10 is a solid game score, to the point where it's like a God of War. It's going to be a game, if you like what you see right now on the screen in the background, you enjoy the older prior Spider-Mans, as I said, you're going to enjoy the game. Now, because of that, there has been a few nice upgrades you can even see on the actual gameplay in the background, where, number 1, the graphics look way nicer. As a good little pause over here, if you guys look at, say, the wall, there's a lot more individual textured bricks. If you look at the cars, more lighting effects. If you look at the actual overall cutscenes, they look way better, and they have a chance to utilize the, slightly better PlayStation 5 internal on the hardware and everything else in between. The cutscenes look nicer, and the one big thing to note that's been kind of going viral as of now has been on the PlayStation's SSD and fast travel. We may have a quick little snippet and a clip on that for you guys, maybe on the channel throughout the next few days, so subscribe for that if you guys want. But as you guys can kind of see, even from the animations over here from the video we're referencing, this has been a very clean and good game. The review, the gameplay, everything between it, like I said, is clean. Now, there's a few little hiccups here and there. And when it comes to, animations, I think a big thing was there's a really big drama when it came to the water. A lot of folks were having issues with the water effects. They were thinking it looked kind of very cheap, not well made. Facial effects look overall kind of nice, but if you kind of look and stare at the faces, it's not perfect. It's not the best, 100%, but it's looking pretty good. Like, everything looks solid. If you look at the environment in the background of the game itself, there's lights, there's animations, the world feels alive. You have text messages showing up over here right behind me, and you can see all this different type of stuff where it looks good. And that's a big thing I've noted and pushed for the next generation games, where the environments seem real. You have literal cars in the background, traveling. You have all these different individualized buildings in the background. You see the scratch marks and the rust and the coating on all these buildings on the top. You see the actual faces, even though it's just going like this in the background, with all of the different types of things in Spider-Man. And all these things are really nice and really presentable. These are really cool to go and see. And as you guys can also see, the animation look really nice. Now, of course, with all this one, there is a few different special features, but once again, it just kind of relates back to the original Spider-Man game. But with it also having a chance to play to two different characters, that sometimes does lead into bigger issues. Now, some of the reviewers so far, and I myself can maybe assume it, is that there's going to be a little bit of a hiccup when it comes to storytelling. There's been a little bit of like multi-reviews that have stated this and commented on this one, that the storyline can get a little bit convoluted, or depending on how you do it, how it happens, etc., that it may not necessarily have a chance to let both of the characters majorly shine. Now, this is kind of also more paraphrasing through other folks as well, so don't take my opinion as like the claim of God or whatever, but I could also see how if you have two different simultaneous stories with also an open world, with also side stuff too as well, that it could potentially lead into some either convolution, or you take a week, month, 2 months off to go and replay through the game, or kind of return back to it if, let's say, you're a parent or just get busy with school, finals, whatever it might be, Christmas, holidays. I can see that being a potential issue. And as well, sometimes too, there has been the somewhat occasional issue where sometimes in these Marvel type movies, they have a somewhat of a generic-ish type storyline. Although this is more focusing on a slightly different storyline that they've kind of expected, that they haven't like deep dived into too much. But if you've seen like a Batman game, Spider-Man game, like even like Superman game, a lot of these different types of stories in the media are somewhat well rehearsed a lot. Like you have like the Jokers, you have like the Green Lanterns, you have like all the various somewhat popular characters, or even for this one, you have like the symbiote too as well in Spider-Man, which does sometimes lead into some generic storytelling or also a story you may have heard. Now, a lot of folks are saying that's not the biggest deal, but that is something to maybe expect of that. It's a Marvel movie. It's a superhero game. You kind of have the rough idea how the story is going to go. I don't think that's bad. I think that's kind of okay. In this day and age, like a lot of companies and video game people like to play games safe. They enjoy the idea of knowing that the audience will like it. And once again, it's going back to the original gameplay, where you don't have to go and be majorly impressed. It doesn't have to be the best game you've ever played. It just has to be an experience that you really enjoy, and you will, and one like you kind of leave the game, you beat the game after quite a few hours. You check out the open world, you check out the beat the game itself, this like the actual campaign, and you're happy. Like you beat the game, you're like, I spent $70 on this, I got some good time in my game, I feel good about it, like life's good. And I think that's kind of the overall goal of what they're trying to push for with this. Now, there has been a few other little smaller caveats where some folks have had a little bit of issues in terms of like, let's say, like repetitiveness in combat, which if you guys can look at the combat or remember that in the first Spider-Man game, I would maybe agree on that. Or sometimes you don't feel as like the craziest superhero, but that's just based on Spider-Man. You do a lot of like low-key combat like this. But one also nice thing though is that there's a lot more fast traveling, and even things like this, we have like the winds and the gusts and all of this. But part two is that also it felt from every reviewer that it felt phenomenal from going through the game. You have a chance to go and literally fly or swing through everything, and you feel good, you feel accomplished going through it. And that's kind of the one of bigger feelings I've always enjoyed about Spider-Man games. Every reviewer, every comment has stated on how much they enjoy the movement, how much they enjoy flying through the game, how much they enjoy just doing this. And that's one of the things I really love back in the prior Spider-Man games, and the fact that the world now is even bigger, more immersive. You could even see on how many cars are going through this, how there's even like these little mini like fast travel points like this throughout the game. But even as you're going through all these little like loopholes going through this, you can even also go and ski on water too as well, which is all kind of new features. They actually did add new features using the PS5 and as well just the general game terminology, I guess, for it. You also have different types of combat, etc. And all this actually does make the game, the world, and everything feel a lot more immersive and nice. And that's one big thing a lot of folks have really, really enjoyed when it comes to Spider-Man. And this is what I like to see, because if you look at this, the whole game looks phenomenal. The lighting, the graphics, the details, the separate buildings, the world does feel alive. You see the traffic, you see Spider-Man, you're going through all these different types of optional things, and it just makes it seem like you're actually literally living in New York City as Spider-Man. You see these random things, like there's this random bus on fire, and you want to go and, well, fix it. You have 2 minutes to fix it. You have all these different more variety of random people to go beat up and go and save throughout the city, and it just makes the game feel a lot more alive and a lot more immersive. Now, it's kind of hard to go and harp on the game at all, because I would probably still, from my preemptive, I guess, thoughts, would probably throw like a nice like 9 out of 10 too. It's going to be a game where I'm not going to be disappointed that I bought, and I'm going to like it. Now, I can maybe see, as I mentioned, a lot of the issues people popping up. Story potentially being a little bit convoluted, combat maybe getting repetitive over time, and maybe as well not having as many good reasons to do open world stuff, because you want to maybe do the main stories, etc. Or as well too, like there's a few little small issues, as we mentioned, with like animations or everything else in between. But either same exact time with new characters, characters, even stuff like this, which is completely different combat compared to how it was for the old Spider-Man games too, or like you guys saw for like the PS4 versions. I think it looks cool, and I think it's going to end up being a game that I myself want to go and pick on up, and I myself want to go play. But overall, everyone's liking it. Even the people who have bad things to say are mostly saying, hey, it's still worth playing, it's still worth checking out, but I maybe did not dislike this from my own personal opinion or video game opinion. So I want to hear your thoughts. Are you guys going to go pick up Spider-Man? Are you guys excited for it? Because I myself am pretty hyped up for it. Cannot wait to play it. And of course, I'll be either streaming some of this stuff or making videos on my YouTube or on Twitch. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both. And as well, don't forget we are doing a Best Buy promotion, hashtag ad and sponsor with the basically Terra Gun. We have 3 separate links down below. And of course, let me know your thoughts and comments if you guys enjoyed all of this. Once again, we'll probably have the link down below for the PlayStation Lifestyle original video. We have the gameplay for this. And as well, I appreciate all the thoughts and comments for everything down below.